Ahoy, everybody! I got my beanie on, my U-boat beanie. Hey, everybody, it's old Roger D on Channel Downstar with another of his 31 Days of B-Movie Horror for Halloween this year, 2016, in honor of Vince Rotolo and the B-Moviecast. Yes, yesterday we watched a sci-fi, a very surprisingly really good science fiction. Excuse me, I'm being kind of quiet because it's very late and I don't want to disturb the sleeping people upstairs. But yeah, it was quite the Atomic Submarine. I was very surprised by that, and I really had no idea Criterion released it until I saw the opening circle thing. But yeah, so today I felt like, okay, let's watch a monster movie. It's time for another monster movie. And this is a first watch for me. I'd never seen Caltiki The Immortal Monster. I had heard of it. I had seen stills of it. I know the B-Moviecast actually did a... You know, let me tell you this right off the bat. Yeah, I'm doing these little reviews on B-movies because I love them, which is how I found the B-Moviecast. B-Moviecast.com, Vince's site, which is still going strong. Because he's got this huge, gigantic library of all the shows he's done throughout the years. And in these B-movie things, if you want any more information on these movies, it's always good to go over there, listen to their podcast, because they really get into the detail. They get into all the actors and things like that. So I just wanted to do that little plug and say go over there if you wanna get more information on these movies. Me, I'm just an old fart that's talking about them for the first time because I've never seen them. Anyway, so yeah, Caltiki the Immortal Monster, never seen. I heard it was like a blob thing, and I'll be honest with you, this is basically, when was this? I think this was 59, 58. Excuse the camera shake. This is kind of like a blob movie, but it's a different one, which I'll get into later, which is almost kind of better, if you ask me. At least I was totally entertained by this. It started off kind of clunky. From what I understand, this is an Italian film that was dubbed in English, and no doubt you can tell I've seen a lot of dubbed movies from this period, and you could recognize the voice actors. The voices sound very familiar from other movies. And I don't know anybody of the cast, so I'm leaving that out. And go look it up yourself. The only thing I do know is Mario Bava, the great Italian director whose use of colors and man, Dario Argento was a protege of his, I believe a cinematographer on a few of his films, and then went off and did his very colorful, vibrant horror movies, giallos. But Mario Bava directed this along with somebody else, and I'm sorry I don't have the name. You have to look that up. But you can kind of, even though this is a black and white movie, you can kind of tell near the beginning when they're in the volcanic cave, the lighting and the smoky shots and the way the shots are set up. A very early Mario Bava, very like Planet of the Vampires and things like that, without the color. But yeah, the story is about a group of explorers going into like a Mayan temple near a volcano or in a volcano, and they come across the giant goddess statue of Caltiki, who's like a Mayan god. But there's a pool around it, and these guys go down there. Well, the one guy goes down there diving to look around, and he finds all these treasures, and he starts bringing them up until something gets him. And when they pull him up and they pull his mask off, he's just like, not a whole skeleton, but he's like gooey, and like the flesh has been eaten away, burnt away. That's another thing I'm going to say in this, is that I mentioned certain B movies really freak me out because of the gore. Frankenstein's Daughter, Flesh Eaters, Horror of Party Beach, which I got to watch that soon. This one had that same kind of thing. There's a scene where one of the guys gets his arm, he almost gets eaten by this blob creature that comes out of that pool. They never really explain what it is, from what I remember, other than I guess it's a curse from Caltiki because they were stealing the treasures from under the water, the Mayan treasures, and this blob thing came out and started attacking people. And one of the scientists gets his arm sucked on, and they don't cut the arm off, but they cut the section of Caltiki off. They bring him to a hospital, and then they're like pulling the blobbish part off of his arm, and it's just like flesh and bone down to the bone. It's pretty gross. And then there's a scene where one of the guys gets attacked, and all you see is his head, and the blood, he spews out blood. And so again, it was one of these late 50s movies that I remember being kind of shocked by with the gore. And this is the first time I saw it, and I'm like, wow, they really did. I mean, apart from the Herschel Gordon Lewis movies, which were in beautiful Technicolor red temper paint blood with mannequins, drilling and pulling eyeballs out mannequins. This was done pretty realistically. Now, the story, like I said, they take a sample back and they put radiation on it, and they realize the radiation makes it grow and come alive. And then there's this subplot with the guy who had the arm problem, who slowly it's affecting his brain, and he's going mad, and he wants to go kill this woman of this scientist who he flirted with, and she didn't want anything to do with it. Like I said, it was a whole subplot to basically expand this movie. This movie probably could have been 45 minutes long, a half hour minutes long, with just the monster and the family, the doctor and the family. But they added this whole other subplot, which was fine. But yeah, eventually, because of the one doctor with the wife and the child, he brought a sample home. Of course, the thing started growing. And there's this whole other thing with a comet, too, that's coming down. And it comes around every so millions of years, and they think that's what wiped out the Mayan civilization, is this comet. And it's coming back again, and Caltiki is being brought, the blob is being brought alive by this. I think that's what I got out of it. But yeah, the thing's in the house, and it starts growing, and the guy's trying to race to get to the house to save the wife and the daughter, and the blob is just getting bigger and bigger. Now, the thing I thought was really cool, and the ending of this movie I thought was pretty damn cool. Beginning, like I said, you have to deal with all the exposition and the bad dubbing and that. But apart from the blob, the old 50s Steve McQueen original, when the blob would come, it can go under the door and go through cracks and get to you, and that. This thing wasn't fluid like that. It was like a blobby mass that would actually break through doors, and they used a lot of miniatures, like dollhouse miniatures. Like when the thing is coming into the living room and there's all these little chairs, or a small refrigerator it knocks over, and it's going up the stairs to the bedroom to get the wife, and it's like a miniature staircase with this blobby thing. It sounds kind of corny, but actually visually it wasn't that bad. Knowing that it was 1958, 59, I was like, okay, yeah, they did a pretty damn good job with this. And like I said, it just busts. The doors are like bending, and then it just busts through. It's really well done. And of course, the wife is on the ledge with the little girl, the little girl has terrible dubbing. It's like they used an older person doing a little baby voice. Mama, I don't like the bad dreams. It was kind of, but what are you going to do? It's dubbing. I didn't have the original Italian version. I don't even know if this is on VHS. I just kind of got a copy of it. Not a very good one. I believe it was film, because there was some jitteriness in it. So it was like a copy of a 60mm print or something. Anyway, so yeah, then they defeat, I'm not going to say how they defeat it, because you go out there and watch the movie. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, for a first-time view, I was pretty surprised by it, and I was surprised because I didn't really realize that Mario Bava had anything to do with this. So that was an added plus. And yeah, I was surprised with the monster. It was a cool blob. It was a different take on the blob, and it was huge. It wasn't just like this blobus thing. It would be going through the house and going around the building and in windows and stuff and breaking down things. The house eventually collapses at the end. And there's a guy, a military guy. He's like, oh, you can call the men back. We got a little bit of a mess to clean up. It's like a little. The whole thing is just destroyed. Anyway, so yeah, that's the next movie on the list, Caltiki The Immortal Monster. For the exact date, check out the title, and we will see you in the next video. That's all I can say. I had a great time with this, so happy Halloween, everybody. See you next time. Okay.